Hey guys, is my sound on this time? Hi. Hey guys, thank you. Okay, awesome. So yes, I'm going to speak about Mercury retrograde today. Since it's already obviously in effect. Oh my goodness. How fun is that? Anyway, hey everybody, this is April with astrologer.com. I'm here with my weekly astrology forecast / coffee talk. So if you're new here, you haven't seen one of my broadcasts before, what I do is I go over the astrology from one Friday to the next, tell you what are some major shifts that I see, major and minor. And I also, at the very end of the broadcast, I go over maybe some like celebrity stuff or any news that's going on that maybe it caught my attention, and try to explain things astrologically, as far as like the behavior of someone, maybe they're experiencing something, they're acting out in a certain way or whatever. So I go through their astrology charts. And yeah, every week there's always someone who says, oh my God, celebrities are fake. Why do you talk about them? As far as we know, they are beings just like we are and are human. I believe they're human, right? And they were all born at a certain time and a certain day and have a astrological birth chart just like the rest of us. So it's just that their lives are on display publicly, okay? And that's what I use as a tool to help people to learn and understand astrology and see how it's a part of everyday life. Okay, so no more talk about how fake celebrities are, because we can see who they really are by looking at their natal chart. That's the whole point here, honey, okay? So welcome everybody. Hi everybody that's saying hello in the chat. Hi Oche. Hi David. Some of my ride or die peoples are here. Thank you so much for joining me every week. Kate is here. You know what? I still have to respond to your email, girl. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. You know what I'm talking about. Much love to you. All right, guys. So the weekly astrology, the most major thing that's going on is, of course, Mercury retrograde. Someone's asking, am I reading for Aquarius? I'm going to do Mercury retrograde through all of the signs and how it's going to affect every single sign, whether it's your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign. I'm going to go through that. But first, let's talk about what's kind of lingering right now. What's still hanging around as far as the energy and the air astrologically? Well, we just came off of an eclipse in Aquarius. Was it intense for you guys or was it not? Was anybody crying? Did anybody experience anything crazy? Because you know what? It was a full moon eclipse, a lunar eclipse. Full moons are usually very intense, emotionally intense times anyways. And then when there's an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, it's like, wow, 10 times magnified. So how's it been treating everybody? Yes, I was emotional too. David saying he was emotional. Yes, I was emotional. I was crying, probably for like a few days or whatever. Yeah, emotional. For me, it was in my 4th house, which is already super emotional anyway. So I was like thinking about my family because it was a full moon in my 4th house. So thinking about family and all that stuff. And it's been crazy. Yeah, sleepless nights. Oh my gosh. I hear you guys. I hear you. Some people are cutting people out of their lives. You have a client shouting at you. How dare they? You are a very sweet person. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So intense, right? Intense. And I hope that the changes that it brings to everybody are positive. Of course, we've seen crazy stuff happening with the eclipses building up, but I'm hearing about some good stuff though too. I'm hearing about people starting new jobs, getting promotions, really cool announcements live. I mean, cool like life experience announcements from people. Someone I saw on social media was switching to self-employment from being employed by an employer. And yeah, just a lot of cool stuff has been happening. Some people, like I have a friend on Facebook who's a triple Cancer. Can you believe it? She's a triple Cancer. And for Cancer, Aquarius is their 8th house. So she was really on this transformation tip, like, I'm going to cut people off. I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No more of this, no more of that. Full moons can really bring that. And then eclipses are just, woo, they're like really intensified with that. So I hope everything is treating you guys well. You know, there's a lot of articles out that are saying that since we're between eclipses, it is like a portal is being opened right now. And to see where it's affecting you, of course, look in the areas of your chart that are ruled by Aquarius and Leo. Okay, the lunar eclipse is coming up. I can't wait to talk about that in Coffee Talk. But I'm only covering the 11th through the 18th today, so I'm not going to discuss it this week, but I will next week. And of course, yeah, to see where everything is opening up for you as far as brand new beginnings and changes, you know, look to where those signs are in your chart. Also, you could book a reading with me and I can take a look at it for you. I would love to. I'm loving doing readings that are based around the eclipse. People are asking me how the eclipses are affecting them, and I love looking at that stuff. So anyhow, what's going on? What else is going on? But yeah, and just remember that there was an eclipse this year on the Aquarius and Leo axis on, what was it? Oh my God, my eyelash. Woo, it just stabbed me in my eyeball so bad. Sorry. Woo. But anyway, there was an eclipse on this axis February 10th of 2016, earlier this year. So this could be a continuation of changes that are occurring, major changes in those areas of your life. So how has it been for you guys? Because it's like a 6-month cycle, you know, that's kind of coming to another layer being peeled away, or a conclusion or something happening. I know for me, 6 months ago is when I quit my job and I left the corporate world, exactly on that eclipse. I've told you guys a few times. I don't want to like repeat myself all the time, but just letting you guys know that it's a cycle that repeats itself, you know. So that's what happened with me 6 months ago exactly. And so I've been reflecting it, like whatever that first eclipse in February brought about for you guys. Reflect back on that. Holy crap. Oh, maybe I should not wear this brand of eyelashes anymore. Ooh, it just stabbed me in the eye so hard. Sorry about that, guys. Anyhow, it could be wrapping things up, and this could be a time to reflect back on that eclipse and what it brought to you. And if it brought a positive change, be appreciative of it. You know, I've had to think myself, you know what? I'm so grateful for self-employment. I told you guys last week I thought about, you know, going and getting a regular job again, but a part-time one, just because I'm a progressed Gemini sun and Mars. So I'm used to doing multiple things at once, you know, including jobs. I always have more than one job or more than one thing going on work-wise. So I'm like, let me try it. But no, the universe said no. And so I've been thinking about how grateful I am for this experience to be able to be an astrologer full-time. It's my dream, my absolute dream, and I love it. And you guys are awesome. I love talking to you guys, and I love it. So I've been just reminding myself of the blessing that the last eclipse brought me. So if it was something good that happened, you know, reflect and appreciate the blessings. If it was something that was not that great, but it was like a huge change and a huge breakthrough, reflect back and think how you want to move forward, how you want to continue to move forward in that area of life. So this is the eclipse season, man. We're right in the middle of it, especially wherever Leo is in your chart. It's like super highlighted right now because there is going to be a solar eclipse there in about 10 days. And also we still have the sun there. We have Mars there. And so there's still some energy. The sun and Mars hanging out together. Wow. It's been hanging out together since they were both in the sign of Cancer last month in July. The sun and Mars together in Leo, super masculine energy. Those are the two hottest, most masculine planets. And then they're in a masculine fire sign. So you've probably seen a lot of people have more energy. Maybe some egotism fights and stuff have been brought about, unfortunately. Or just having like a boost in energy. Hopefully it's brought to a lot of you guys too. So where was the February eclipse? It was at 22 degrees of Leo. The moon was at 22 degrees of Leo, and the sun was at 22 degrees of Aquarius, for those who are asking. So yeah, this is an intense time, and I know there's a lot of, you know, people will always say it's intense time, spectacular things happening all the time, but no, this month of August is really spectacular. It really is. But I'm going to try to stick between the time frame of the 11th through the 18th. And let's talk. Well, let's talk, guys. Can we talk? Can we talk? Today I have my Taurus mug, which is, he's making an appearance again. Well, she's a beautiful color. She's making an appearance again. You've seen her before. I am itching to buy a new mug though, guys. So I may have a new one for next week. So anyhow, what's going on? What's going on? Oh yeah, I was going to let you guys know what I'm going to talk about after I go through the signs for Mercury retrograde and also the other transits that are happening. I'm going to talk about, at a viewer request, someone emailed me and asked, can I look into the Bachelorette and who she selected as her bachelor or whatever? To be honest, guys, I don't watch the show, but I'm a Scorpio rising. I love to research. So I've been researching and watching clips and all this stuff just so I could talk about this today because a viewer requested it. So thank you so much for requesting it. I forgot her name. I should have gotten her name. But if you're in the chat, thank you for emailing me. And if you guys have any requests in the future of something for me to cover during coffee talk, go ahead and email me on my astrologer.com readers page. And I will take a look into it if I have time and if I can. You know, I love the suggestions you guys give me. So let's go to the transits for the week. Where's the moon at today? The moon is in Aries. The moon's in Aries today, which is why I've seen and heard a lot of people on social media like, I have like this boost of energy today. And it's because the moon is in Aries and we have the sun in a fire sign and Mars in a fire sign. So there's like all this like fiery energy and it's awesome. I'm loving it too. I tend to stay up pretty late working on readings and doing a lot of stuff, my astrology work. And I barely got like 3 hours of solid sleep, but I'm still up. I'm up and I'm peppy and I'm happy and I'm like so hyped. So moon and Aries energy is awesome for that. So tell me if you guys are feeling that too, the moon and Aries energy today. It's like, you know, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Versus moon and Pisces yesterday, I was knocking out off and on the whole day. Oh my gosh. I was like, no, I have stuff to do. And then, wait, hold on, I have stuff to do. So I've seen some people complain about that on social media too, being very sleepy with the moon in Pisces. And it is my moon sign, so it was like double like the sleepiness and everything. So I am so happy for moon in Aries today. The moon will come into a conjunction with Uranus, I believe on Sunday. Okay, and this happens every month. Okay. Someone's asking how many days with this moon. We get 2.5 days of the moon being in a sign. Every couple of days it changes signs. So yeah. Oh, I hear you, Kate. I hear you on that. We've got the same rising sign, girl. So I'm crossing my fingers. But anyway, yeah. So in a couple of days it will come into a conjunction with Uranus, which is the energy. This happens every month, and it's just like a really nervy energy, like a buzz of electricity energy. It's like people can kind of act out irrationally and just based on emotion a lot more. It's like intensified to do things like just suddenly and not really think about it, you know? So that's something to be mindful of when the moon is in Aries conjunct Uranus. People tend to drive faster. I notice that too. If I'm on the road when the moon is in Aries, people are like really trying to race and whiz around all crazy. And it's just like, dude, calm down. Or I see a lot more motorcycles on the road when the moon's in Aries. And they're like loud and they're trying to race and try to be badass and show off. And I'm like, oh, I roll. I know it's because the moon is in Aries. Calm down. But anyhow, yeah. A bit bossy. Oh, yes. I hear you on that, Muriel. Yeah, that's absolutely true. It can clash with energies that are not bossy. So let me see what else. Wow. Okay. Anyway, nice conversation in the chat. I love how you guys always tend to converse and talk about what I'm talking about, but also have your own little conversations. I think it's cool. So anyway, let's get into the astrology that's coming up this week. And I'm going to try to make sure this broadcast isn't too long, guys. The last couple of ones I went on for like 2 hours or something. And it was really draining, to be honest, because I put a lot of intuitive energy into this stuff. And that can be like really like draining for an empathic person to connect with so many people at once. So I'm only going to talk about a couple of the transits for the week. Number one, Mercury retrograde. Let's just dive right in, okay? Because look, when Mercury was in shadow, Mercury in shadow is when Mercury is slowing down, okay? It's not in its regular orbit still when it's in shadow, because it's slowing down and it's preparing to come to a stop and to a standstill, which we call Mercury station, okay? It's station, and then it goes retrograde, which means its orbit is moving backwards and not in its regular orbit. So that's when you start to see mishaps with anything that Mercury rules, which is technology. We experienced that earlier, right? This is the second time I've had to redo coffee talk today because Mercury retrograde, retro. What's the prefix? RE, redo, rethink, revise, review. All of any words apply to Mercury retrograde, even when it's in this shadow period, because it's still wonky as far as the orbit. So it's not running smoothly as far as anything to do with technology, anything to do with communication, misunderstandings, mishaps, all that stuff. Even driving. Driving is ruled by Mercury. You use your hands, you travel short distances or whatever. It's to move about. That's ruled by Mercury. So even driving, that's why you see so many more accidents, unfortunately, during Mercury retrogrades and shadow periods. Like and of course people will say, well, accidents happen all the time. Yes, they do. But the crazier ones happen during Mercury retrograde, like the ones where it's a wrong way driver. People go, okay, I can't really talk too much in detail about that stuff. I'm a little sensitive about it. Sorry. But anyhow, you see the crazier accidents happen when Mercury's in retrograde. Sorry. And technology fails. All that stuff is like very, very common with Mercury retrograde. I'm so sorry. I'm getting like emo live. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that because today is actually the birthday of a good friend of mine who actually passed away in a bad accident like that. So I guess that just kind of took over me, the memories of that, because I've been thinking about him all day. But anyway, so make sure that you are leaving earlier, okay? And that you take maybe your usual route. You don't try to do anything crazy, when you're driving and all of that stuff. When it comes to driving during Mercury retrograde, it's easy to get lost too. So you can't depend upon like, oh my gosh, I've noticed that like Google Maps, I have mishaps with Google Maps during Mercury retrogrades. What about you guys? Even Google Maps will like take me to the wrong place and like take me on this weird route. So just really watch all of that stuff. Technological mishaps, I already talked about that. I noticed that people will drop their phones during Mercury retrograde. They'll lose their phone. And this is another thing about this Mercury retrograde. You see, and thank you guys for the comments. I'm trying not to look at them so I don't get all emo again. But thank you. I love you guys so much. Anyhow, here's not a cool thing. This is not a cool thing about Mercury retrograde this time around. See, it's in the sign of Virgo, right? It's at 11 degrees of Virgo. It's in an opposition to Neptune. So what does Neptune rule? It rules losses, like getting lost, literally losing track of things, like physical items, losing track of things in memory. Like, oh, I had this thought and it just went, woo, That's also Neptune. It just kind of went off into the distance in the universe somewhere and disappeared, right? Also, sorry, Neptune. Neptune is, it's like losses of things, of material things, loss of thoughts and all that stuff. And it's also deceit, guys. Neptune, it's being fooled. It's like people putting the wool over your eyes. You know what I mean? Like you're allowing yourself to be deceived. Yes, Muriel, you are right, girl. Right on it. So Neptune's retrograde right now. Mercury's retrograde. They're in opposition to one another. Ooh, so let me tell you guys, like for the next couple of weeks, we may be more prone to things like that, like deception from others, like confusion brought about from other people too. People trying to fool us, people trying to swindle is also this type of opposition. Okay. So that is like my biggest warning for this Mercury retrograde. And yeah, loss of direction, like when you are traveling and stuff like that too, is very easy with this transit. So be very mindful of that. But yeah, if you're like, say for example, this makes me think of course, seventh house stellium. I'm always thinking of relationship stuff, right? If you meet somebody during Mercury retrograde, usually it's not really the best time anyway to like try to get to know someone and establish something solid, because the communication could be so off, right? So Muriel says she has a date. Good luck, honey. Okay. Good luck with that, because with this opposition to Neptune as well, this could be you kind of not even seeing the person for who they really are. You could be prone to like being a victim of lies from another person. So just really watch it with that. Keep that in mind when you're meeting new people. They could just be like, oh, you know, someone's asking, is the driving thing, etc., just today or much longer? Well, Mercury will be in opposition to Neptune pretty much the majority of the month of August while it's retrograde. Let me grab an exact date for you, for those who are asking. I love when people want to know exact dates because I'm like really nerdy like that with the dates and stuff. Okay, so Neptune is at 13 degrees of Pisces. It goes back to 12 degrees at the end, very last day of August. So I would say up until like the last week of August is when the Mercury and Neptune opposition, and both are retrograde, are going to be in like the fullest effect, okay? To where it's like, you really need to watch it with the Mercury retrograde stuff. Okay, now let me find you guys again with the chat. Here we are. Okay, so that's when that is. So yeah, somebody is saying, just happened 2 nights ago on a date. Yes. Just really try to probe that person for the truth, okay? So let's see how this Mercury retrograde in itself is going to affect every sign, shall we? Sally is saying do some shielding shielding rituals before you leave the house. Yes. David is saying he hopes it doesn't affect any of his teachings. It could. It could. Just make sure you take a lot of notes and take the time to review and take the time to speak slowly and clearly, okay? So, oh, hey, Silent Profiling. Hi. Okay, now every sign, let's see how it's going to affect everybody. So Aries, Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo. Oh, and this is going to be retrograde, guys, up until, let me tell you guys the date that it ends and it goes direct. I think I owe that to you, right? Okay, so Mercury goes direct on the 6th of September, but the shadow period aftermath still remains for 2 weeks after that. So I would say up until September 20th is when we will be experiencing all the effects of Mercury retrograde, okay? So from now until the 20th of September, all of that stuff applies. And then when it moves forward again in the sign of Virgo after that, it's going to be in an opposition to Neptune again. Like I'm going to say, yeah, during the time it's still in shadow period, like the last few days of shadow period, it's going to be in opposition of to Neptune again. So until late September, we'll be experiencing this stuff. Okay, guys. So now let's get to every sign. Sorry to tease you like that, especially to Aries people, because I started talking about them and then I went off in another direction. Classic Mercury shadow stuff. So Aries people, Mercury retrograde through the 20th of September is going to affect you in your 6th house. This is your work, okay? So any working Aries, this is a time where errors can come up. Errors can come up in the workplace, okay? Like if you had any errors that you created, that you made within the last like few months or month or so or whatever, then this can be you guys, they're presented to you again, especially by like your peers, your colleagues, your bosses or whatever. This is for sun, moon, or ascendant, to those who are asking. Sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries. Work, Mercury retrograde is affecting that, okay? So this is, and anything practical that you do, even if you're not a working Aries, anything practical that you do, like a schedule or a routine that you keep up with in your daily life, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to keep up with it, to be honest. So my advice to you and to everybody else, to every sign, I'll give the same advice. The same practical advice is to take your time, okay? Take your time getting to work, because your routine involves like how you get to work, what time you leave, your schedule, all that stuff. Take your time, go over things, okay? And especially in the workplace, you do not want that boss to come down on you and say you're incompetent or anything like that. So Aries people, please make sure that that you guys are going over. This could be a time of review, though. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like maybe some of your work, like if there's errors that come up, it's just to show you what you can do better with your work. And someone is asking about work-life balance. Yes, the 6th house, it can deal with that too, because this isn't in opposition to Neptune, which is in your 12th house. So work-life balance, there could be some confusion there. There could be some changes you have to make, and there could be some trials and errors to where you make a change. Maybe you want to start doing something different. You want to go to bed earlier, whatever. And it's kind of off. Like you're not going to be consistent completely. Okay. It's going to be a little difficult to keep up with your routines and your schedules. Also with health, maybe a health issue could be brought back to your attention, Aries, as well with Mercury retrograde, because it does bring things back. Okay. So yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. It's work and health. You guys are going to be affected in that area up until about the 20th of September. So hang tight, my Aries people. Next up is Taurus. Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant. Mercury retrograde, how it's going to affect you guys until about the 20th of September. This is happening in your 5th house. So for Tauruses, this could be memories brought back to you of maybe old romantic relationships that you've had. I'm a Taurus, and that's been an effect, unfortunately. People can come back to you in memory for good or bad reasons. My recommendation is, if that does happen, just to look back at the lessons that you've learned from those experiences and see what you can do better in the present time with romantic relationships. Also, with your children, you can get sentimental about your children, about memories with them, going back over things. You can also, like if you have to do like your schedules with your children, those may be a little off and hard to keep up with too. Also, the 5th house is creative projects. So Tauruses, if you guys have creative projects, be prepared for maybe some possible mishaps, having to redo things, revise things. Oh my gosh. Not fun, but you know what? It's a chance to maybe just take a closer look at things instead of just going through them so quickly. You know what I mean? So that's how it's going to affect Taurus people. I'm trying to think of what else for the 5th house for Taurus. That's really the majority of it. It's romantic relationships, your children, your creative projects, all of that stuff. Also, the 5th house is your self-confidence too. So maybe going back over some things, Taurus, to figure out how you could be more confident of a person. Because let's be honest here, Virgo energy can be very nitpicky. It can pick at flaws, okay? So if it picks at flaws, like you can go back over and pick at your own flaws and be like, oh, I'm not very confident because I have this wrong with me, that wrong with me. So instead of using that energy for that, just see how you can better yourself, of course, without being too, like, putting yourself under a microscope and like being too harsh with yourself. So that's for Taurus. So for Gemini, sun, moon, or ascendant, Mercury retrograde and how it's going to affect you for the next, until about September 20th. This is happening in your 4th house. So this is super sentimental for Gemini. And Gemini is normally not a very sentimental sign. So this is going to have you guys being very sentimental, like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. And also remember, guys, Venus is in the sign of Cancer right now until the end of August. Venus in Cancer alone is all about those memories too. Those memories that make you say, aw. So for Gemini, though, the Mercury retrograde is in your 4th house of home and family and memories and all that stuff of the past. So yeah, this is kind of a sentimental energy. So going back over memories of family, of your early childhood, maybe getting together with family members and reminiscing on things with them, reminiscing about the past, going over like old pictures and all that stuff could be really cool for you guys, Gemini. A fair warning though, there's always good and bad to Mercury retrograde and to every transit for every sign. Mercury retro in the 4th house, it can also cause some like electronical and mechanical failures in things around your home, Gemini. And I know you guys are like we need any more of this, right? Because you guys are ruled by Mercury. So Mercury retrograde is already like very intense, like extra intense for Gemini anyway, to where you guys have like your phone. Like, you know what? I'll tell you guys one thing. Geminis are the #1 sign of friends of mine that I know that always have issues with their phones. Always, like all the time, okay? Regardless of Mercury retrograde, and especially during Mercury retrograde. You guys always lose them, you break them, you accidentally drop them in the toilet, you left it somewhere, like it's cracked. Oh my gosh. And anytime I talk to any Geminis, like I have lots of Geminis very close to me, near and dear. My sister's a Gemini rising, best friend a Gemini rising, and my husband's Gemini moon, so on and so forth. So I noticed that when I try to talk on the phone to Geminis during Mercury retrograde, the calls always drop. Like it's nothing but dropped calls, okay? Like we cannot have a conversation during Mercury retrograde that goes straight all the way through. It's crazy. So yes, phone drama, yes, with Gemini. So you guys just in general, just be aware of that. And try to protect your phones as much as you can. Don't lose them, okay? Don't drop them. Keep a case and a screen protector on them, okay? Because we need to get a hold of you guys, all right? But yeah, going back over like sentimental things, sentimental memories, you guys can really get like that during this time. And I know Gemini is not a very emotional sign, and you guys may feel like, ooh, like you're allergic to that, but it happens every year, okay? So moving along, Mercury retrograde for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. How is it going to affect you guys until about the 20th of September? For Cancers, this is in your 3rd house. So we've got Venus in your sign, making you uber sentimental. Then we've got Mercury retrograde in your 3rd house of the mind and the memory. So you guys are going to be extra sentimental too during this time. Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house, Cancers, you guys are going to have it a little more rougher than others too, to be honest, because 3rd house rules all the Mercury stuff, the same stuff Mercury rules. Your communication methods, your communication devices, your ways of getting around town in your city, getting to work every day. All of that stuff is ruled by Mercury, and it's your 3rd house. So Cancers, you guys really need to be making sure you're leaving earlier, because traffic is so much worse during Mercury retrograde everywhere. It's so much worse. So make sure you guys are leaving earlier for that. I know in Cancers, most Cancers that I know, okay, not 100% of them, don't usually like to get up early and be like, woo, all peppy in the morning. Usually Cancer likes to chill. They like to relax. They don't really care for like hopping up early in the morning and running around. But so you guys are going to have to get up a little earlier. I would recommend it at least, to make sure that you get to work on time or school or wherever it is that you go with Mercury retro in your 3rd. Also, take care of your vehicles, Cancers, because this is when people can have like flat tires more often. Vehicle failures is during Mercury retrograde in general, but especially in your 3rd house of how you get around. Also, communication mishaps can happen. And Cancers, I know you guys could really take things personally a lot. So if there's any type of miscommunications that come up, please try not to take them personally. Please keep in mind that it's Mercury retrograde, misunderstandings happen, and that it's like this too shall pass. It's only for like a little over a month. And then if anything pops up, you know, just chill, wait on it until September if you can, then bring it up again when Mercury retrograde is over, and try to really at that time, like, you know, resolve any type of miscommunication mishaps that may come up. So that's for Cancer. For Leo, Mercury retrograde, how it's going to affect Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant until about the 20th of September. This is happening in the 2nd house for Leo. So this is in regards to your finances. I've seen a lot of times repeatedly and experienced it myself. Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house can bring back a bill, like a bill that you thought that you forgot about or that you didn't think existed. It's like this bill pops up out of nowhere in the mail, or you get an email for it or a call, and you're like, what in the world? A lot of mishaps can happen with Mercury retrograde in your second house, Leo, when it comes to balancing your budget and your finances. Happens all the time. Like forgetting about an automatic payment that's going to come out, forgetting to deposit money to cover something, things like that can happen more often with Mercury retrograde here. So really make sure you guys are combing over those finances with a fine-tooth comb. Also, this could be going back over your finances too, reviewing your resources, what you spend money on, what you waste money on, what are wants versus needs. That is totally what you should do with this energy too, Leo. So next up is Virgo. Woo! Virgo, sun, moon, or ascendant sign. Mercury retrograde, how is it affecting you guys up until about the 20th of September? Well, this is happening in your sign and you guys are ruled by Mercury. So I'm sorry to say, Virgos, you guys are another sign along with Gemini and Cancer, because it's in their third house, that may have it a little more rougher. Rougher? Is that a word? Rougher. A little more rough. See, and that's totally Mercury retrograde in Virgo, right? Like, is that a correct word? Did I pronounce it correctly? So a little more rough for Virgos, because you guys are ruled by Mercury. So just anywhere in life, you guys, make sure you are going over things in detail, which you are really good at naturally as a Virgo. But yeah, there could be some mishaps that happen, miscommunications on your part or on others. But this can also be going back over first house things like, who am I? You know, I love the movie Zoolander, if you guys have ever seen it. I love the part when he looks, I think he looks at his reflection either in the spoon or in a puddle of water. And he goes, who am I? And his reflection looks back and says, I don't know. So the first house is the house of the I am. Who am I? So you guys can be asking yourself that question during this Mercury retrograde, Virgo. Who am I? Who am I really? Am I on the right path to be my true self? What do I want to do with my life? Pretty much all of that stuff. And also with your appearance, Virgos, I know you guys could be perfectionists, okay? Michael Jackson was a Virgo. Perfectionists with their appearance, okay? But please, please do not, during a Mercury retrograde, in your first house, get any type of cosmetic surgery done. Don't do it, because Mercury rules the hands. Hands are required for surgery, right? The first house is the body, okay? It's your appearance. Don't do it, boo-boo. Don't do it. Don't do it, my Virgo people. Wait until after the end of September, okay? If you plan on doing anything like that. Because then you'll have to go over and do it again and again. It'll be a redo all the time to perfect that. David's asking about tattoos. If you're a Virgo or Virgo rising, Virgo sun or rising, I would hold off on that if I were you. Haircuts. Maybe not one that's different from what you usually get. If you usually get just like a normal trim or a normal fade or whatever, maybe your normal stuff may be okay to do as far as haircuts and stuff, but any funky hairstyles like David is asking about, I wouldn't recommend it during a Mercury retrograde. It can go wrong. I've been needing a haircut really bad, and I'm like, yo, like I've been wanting to make an appointment, but it's Mercury shadow, so it's like, gotta wait. Anyhow, yes, let's see, cosmetics during Mercury retrogrades. Cosmetics during Mercury retrograde, not surgery, not anything where someone else is doing something with their hands to enhance your appearance that requires a lot of work with the hands. Eyebrow threading. Woo, a lot of people are asking about all this appearance stuff. Eyebrow threading, I would wait on that, because that's use of the hands very quickly. I would wait on that if you can. But major, like mostly major stuff though. Muriel's gonna get her a wig. Yes, girl, get you a wig. All right, so anyhow, let's move along to Libra. Give Libra some time. So Libra, Mercury retrograde, how's it going to affect you guys through about the 20th of September? For Libra, sun, moon, or ascendant. This is in your 12th house, so this could be a sentimental time for Libras too, because the 12th house is all about memories, like your karmic past. That can mean karmic past of this lifetime, karmic past of your whole life. You can take a review of your life. because the 12th house is the house that comes before the first. The first house is you. It's like when you were born, when you took your first breath and all that stuff, right? The 12th house is like we go through this 12-month and 12-year, we go through 12-month cycles all the time. And the last one is the 12th house before we get to your sign. So before we get to your sign and you can start fresh and new again, you got to wrap things up, right, from the past. So that's what why I say the 12th house is the past. So Libra people may be going back over the past a lot too. And it can get a little emotional. I'm just letting you know, it could get a little emotional, Libra people. But this is also a time to go back over, maybe go like I find that the 12th house is also being charitable, like giving things away, because it is a house of giving the self away. And I feel like the best way to do that is to get like material things that you don't need anymore. Go back over your material things in your house. Anything that holds memories too, like material items that hold memories, maybe get rid of those and give them away to charity. That could be a good way to kind of get rid of the past, you know, in a healthy way, and it helps you out at the same time as it helps other people out. This is also, the 12th house is like the house of being a victim or a damsel in distress. And so you guys can kind of start feeling that a little bit. Try not to sink into that though. You know what I mean? Because the 12th house is like the deepest ocean of water when it comes to the elements and the signs and the houses, where you can really sink down low and get like in a low place and become a little depressed or something. So try not to allow yourselves to go there, Libra. It's okay to go back over memories. It's okay to go back over the past, but once again, you know, try to learn from them. Try to learn from those experiences. Cherish those experiences and then move along. Also, this is the house of dreams, like the dreams that you have at night when you sleep. So for Libra people, you may have a lot of dreams about the past. And also this is your connection to the divine, to the spiritual realm. So you guys may receive messages during this time that are like, aha, you know, and especially with it having an aspect to Neptune. Although it's a challenging aspect to Neptune, it's still a Neptunian energy that's brought to Mercury. And Neptune also rules the connection to the divine, the angelic realm and spiritual realm and all that stuff. So yeah, you guys can have a lot of intuitive energy come to you. But pay attention to those dreams, because you really could have some profound messages, Libra, during this Mercury retrograde. Just don't let yourself get too emo. Please don't. All right. So next up is Scorpio. So for Scorpio sun, moon, or ascendant, this is happening in your 11th house. Okay. So the 11th house, and this is up until about the 20th of September. So yeah, this is happening in our 11th house for Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising people. And this is the house of friendships. Yes, wanting to reminisce about friendships, experiences with friends. I'm a Scorpio rising. This has totally been happening for me. Like, I miss my friends more than usual. I'm such a workaholic. I work all the time like crazy. I don't really get out. I don't see friends. And now I'm starting to have that feeling like, oh, like I want to reach out to my friends. I want to hang out with them. Sharing memories with friends. Friends may start contacting you a little bit more. Even friends from the past that you haven't heard of in a long time. Or friends that have maybe passed on from the physical world can contact you. You guys saw me get a little emo earlier, and I apologize for that. Some people are like, no, don't apologize, but I don't really like showing that. You know, I'm a protective Scorpio rising. But the friend of mine that I was talking about earlier, today is his birthday. He's passed on. But what's neat is on his birthdays, he will somehow send me a little sign that says hello. And it's really interesting how that happens. And so that's kind of a Mercury retrograde thing that I'm experiencing when it comes to friends too. Is I just open, it's just like little signs. I'm not going to get too personally into it, but I'll like open my phone in the morning of his birthday, and then bam, the first thing I see is something that has to do with him, like a little subliminal message. So it's pretty awesome. So friends can contact you, come back to you from the past, even your present friends. Like if you haven't really communicated in a while, they're going to want to communicate with you, hang out with you and all that stuff. So it can be pretty awesome. You Scorpios and okay, so Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, all the water signs. Mercury retro is happening in you guys' your houses of communications with other people. So you guys are the main ones who can end up running into people from the past. It could be good or bad. Like just be in the grocery store and randomly run into somebody, you know? Actually, that did happen to me a week ago. I ran into somebody I haven't seen in a long time, like an old friend in the grocery store, and we exchanged numbers. So it was pretty cool. So Scorpios, you guys may experience that. Yeah, friends from the past coming back or just reaching out to you a little more, you reaching out to them. But however, the downside to this is the 11th house, it rules the internet. It rules like technology and stuff is the 11th house. So Scorpio rising, sun, ascendant, moon, whatever. You guys may have a lot of technology fails. You guys saw that from me today as a Scorpio rising. Oh my gosh, it's so irritating, but we just got to restart your computer, restart your phone, whatever, and just do it again. And try to take your time to do things. If you guys rush through whatever technology thing that you're working with or dealing with to communicate with people, then that's when you may have more issues, okay? So that's for Scorpio. For Sagittarius, this is happening in your 10th house, which is career, going back over your career plans, going back over who you want to be in the world, how you want the world to see you. And you're another sign, Sag, unfortunately, that may have some issues like at work or whatever that come back to you, like errors or something. Yeah. Someone's asking if they should buy an iPad. Maybe not. Maybe wait until after it's over, because then you could buy something that's an iPad and it's brand new, but then it's like glitchy or something. Or then when the Mercury retrograde happens again in the future, or every Mercury retrograde after that, after you bought it, you can have issues with it. So I recommend that you don't. But yes, for Sagittarius, this is your career. So just use this energy for a review of your status, like the title that you hold. That's the 10th house. Like if you're a lawyer, I am a lawyer. Okay. If you're a doctor, I am blah, 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 MD, that type of title. Or even if you are, hey, I am so-and-so, I'm a cashier. Okay. That's still your title, like what you want to be known as, going back over that stuff. But yeah, authority figures may bring things to your attention within the work that you do that you have to kind of revise and review and go back over again, Sagittarius. I know that's no fun, but just take the lessons in it. Take your time, okay? Take your time before you proceed with doing stuff, and hopefully you'll be all right. Hopefully there's not too many mishaps. You guys may have things like technology fails within the workplace too, like printers shooting out papers everywhere and having to clean up a lot of messes in your career and work environment. So just be mindful of that, Sagittarius. Now, next up is Capricorn. Capricorn, sun, moon, or ascendant. How is Mercury retrograde affecting you guys until about the 20th of September? This is happening in your 9th house. This is the house of travel. Okay, so any Capricorns wanting to travel right now, if you can help it, try to hold off until after the Mercury retrograde, after the shadow period. Try your best. If you can't, make sure that you have your itinerary set, and Caps are really good with itineraries, okay? You guys are like the kings and queens of being prepared. Actually, all the earth signs are. So really have your itinerary set, but just be prepared to have your itinerary kind of like have to change and switch around a little bit, because although you may be prepared, you may be all practical and organized, the rest of the world, Mercury retrograde affects everybody. So something may happen to where you have to switch things around. You're going to have to go with the flow, Cap. I know it's annoying. You just got to do it. Make sure you take your time, though. Take your time with any travel plans. Also, when it comes to education and the mind, you guys also may have a little bit of like confusion, or maybe a loss of paperwork, a loss of assignments or something like that. Try to back everything up on the computer if you do any type of work that involves publishing, if you're in school, any of that stuff for Capricorn people, back up everything. Actually, for everybody, back up all of your stuff on your computer, okay, and your phone, all right? Because my oldest son, he's a Virgo moon, so he's got, you know, he's ruled by Mercury. he already had to get a new phone, okay, during this Mercury retrograde. It drove us nuts. So back up all your stuff, everybody. But yes, Capricorn, this is when it comes to your any training that you have, any educational pursuits that you are involved in, or any travel plans. Double check everything. Take your time, review, revise, go with the flow of any changes. All right. So next up is Aquarius. This Mercury retrograde is affecting Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant in your 8th house. Wow. So all the air signs are having Mercury retrograde in a water house, which brings out this emotional side to you guys that you usually don't have as air sign people. But and it may feel a little uncomfortable for you guys and a little itchy and like, ooh, I'm allergic to that. But it happens. It happens. You got to get emotional sometimes. So anyhow, Aquarius, this is in your 8th house up until about the 20th of September. So for you guys, this is affecting your house of actually joint finances, which is not emotional, okay? It's more about money, business partnerships. If you work with another person or a team, or you have people under you employed, where you guys gain money together, this is the 8th house. So there can be mishaps there. Just be aware of that. Make sure that there's no miscommunications with money. Yeah, that's no fun, right? Also, make sure you guys are always on the same page. Make sure your accounting is on point, Aquarius, okay? Also, this is the house of joint assets. That can mean joint assets that you have with a partner. If you live with someone, if you are married, seeing someone, and you guys have a serious relationship, you share your material resources together. That's also the 8th house. So make sure no arguments occur, no losses of, well, where did this money go? I don't know. I thought you were keeping track of it. I don't know. Like, stuff like that can happen much more easier during this transit for Aquarius people. So really try to keep track of that money, okay, if you're doing it with another person. Also, this can bring money back to you, actually, like money that people owed you is also the 8th house. So maybe somebody who owed you money a long time ago, and maybe they were like ghost, right? You never heard from them again. Maybe they can actually come back and be like, hey, Aquarius, I owed you that money. I borrowed from you a long time ago. Here you go. Bing. Or on a negative side, it could be a loan or a debt that you thought that maybe you forgot about or you didn't pay or something. They can come back to you and pursue it, okay? So that can also happen for Aquarius people. But also, this is the house of very deep emotional, soulful bonds with other people. So this can be a time when you have memories of them come back, memories of people that you really had those connections with can come back to you, or they can actually come back and contact you and reach out to you too. So as with any relationship stuff involving Mercury retrograde, it's really up to you. It's not recommended to go after and like commit to something again that is from the past that comes back during a retrograde. It's not recommended, but it really is up to you. You have your free will, okay? So just take that however you want to take it, guys. Last but not least is Pisces. Mercury retrograde for Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant, up until about the 20th of September is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So once again, a water sign, you guys can have a lot of memories come back from the past, from relationships that you had with other people. They can try to contact you and reach out to you. You may see a hey message in your inbox in your social media. Hey, like, excuse me, I haven't heard from you in 5 years. And the last time we talked, if I could remember, it wasn't really that great. So why are you sending me a hey now? This could be somebody back from the past. It's like, hi, sorry I messed up in the past. Do you forgive me? Or not even saying that. Maybe just like, hey, what's up? Like expecting to just have things pick up from where they dropped off. You know what I mean? So Pisces people, please. This is in an opposition to Neptune in your sign, which can mean some sort of confusion. So you guys need to be mindful of that if any of these past loves come back to you with Mercury retrograde. But it could be good memories that come back to you too. These people can just come back to you in memory. So of course, just take the lessons, take the experiences, and learn from them and move along, okay? Stay in the present. Don't dwell back in the past. And Pisces, we are very sensitive people, so we can definitely dwell a lot and emotional stuff, but just don't allow yourself to do that, Pisces. Just remember, Mercury retrograde is only a temporary time frame, okay? It's not forever. So if you're thinking about this person or they're contacting you and you don't really want to talk to them, or you're thinking, oh, well, what if maybe we could rekindle something, maybe this, maybe that, don't get caught up in that, guys. All right? May not be the best idea. Maybe say your apologies and then say peace, okay? So that was it for Mercury retrograde through the signs. Thank you guys so much. I'm not done though. I'm not done. I still have another transit to talk about. And I also have coffee talk, okay? So I'm going to try not to make this too long. We're almost at an hour and I need a drink because I'm a Taurus and, you know, my throat is very sensitive. Okay, so I'm going to talk about also Venus in opposition to Pluto. Ooh, so we've got Venus in Cancer, sentimental Cancer. We've got it in opposition to Pluto, and we've got Mercury retrograde at the same time. Wow, this could be some really intense, like, relationship stuff going on. Interesting. I love to talk about relationships. Ooh. Oh, and just to let you guys know, I still, for the rest of August, have my relationship readings on sale. Go check my readers page if you want me to look at your love capacity alone, why you attract certain people, certain partners or whatever, why you keep repeating mistakes in relationships, or who you're attracted to, who's your ideal person according to your chart, all that stuff. Go check it out on my webpage on Astrologer, or a look at you and your relationship with another person. That's on sale right now. So go check it out if you want me to look at it. I love relationship talk. So with that being said, let's talk about Venus and Pluto together in opposition. Venus in Cancer in opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So this is building up, okay? This is building up, actually, because, you know, transits, I always try to explain this. Planetary transits, when we give exact dates, that's like the exact, when they're at the exact degree to where they're giving an aspect to one another. However, it's building up of energy, okay? So even the previous days before, some people may be feeling that Venus and Pluto opposition right now even, you know, kind of building, and then on the days proceeding after the 15th, it kind of fades off, but it's still there. So Venus and Pluto opposition. This can bring on a negative side issues with control within relationships. It can bring obsession. It can bring people being a little stalkerish too with relationship stuff, to be quite honest. So yeah, this paired with Mercury retrograde. Some of you guys may have to start blocking people on social media if you've never blocked them before, like creepers, that or suspected creepers, people from the past that you don't want any ties with anymore. You guys are going to have to set up those blocks and those boundaries because they may try it during this time frame, okay? Venus in opposition to Pluto is very intense. Very intense. It's an intensification of the Venus energy, which is, it does have to do with relationships. And Cancer energy, it's it really likes to, you know, it's represented by the crab, which has claws. So it likes to cling on to people and hold on to them tightly. And with Venus in Cancer in opposition to Pluto, this can intensify that in some people, especially Cancers, and maybe even Capricorn too, because Pluto is in Capricorn. So it's like clinging on to somebody very tightly and like not wanting to let them go, okay? So this, for some people dig that. Some people like a little bit of obsessiveness and possessiveness in their relationships so that they feel like this person really wants them. Yes, Pluto's still retrograde, Renee. So this is like an opposition between Venus and Pluto, and it can bring out that passionate side in people too when it comes to love, when it comes to their personal interests, their hobbies. It can bring out an extreme amount of passion, which some people, like I said, some people dig that. Some people like passion in their relationships. I'm talking about to where you're with somebody and they don't just say, oh, I like you, I think you're cute. It's like, no, I want you, I need you. Like, it's like they're reaching out to grab you, like whether it's literally or just their words reach out to grab you and hold on to you tightly and say, pull you close to them and say, I only want you, I want you, like really badly. That's Venus and Pluto energy. So Some people may enjoy it. Some people may not. Some people may be like, oh, this is too clingy for me. I'm allergic to this stuff. Clarina is saying exactly what I was just thinking right now. Clinging on. So be careful if you're dating right now with this energy going on and Mercury retrograde opposition to Neptune. This can be a kind of a touchy time with dating, to where if you want just a casual thing with somebody, like you just want to, you know, just kind of date around and see who's out there and not really take it seriously. Be careful, guys, because you might attract some clingers, okay? Some clingers, stage 5 clingers that'll get all upset and butthurt when you say, you know what, I'm not looking for this right now. And then they might be like, well, fine then. And why did you give me this impression? Why did you give me the wink and gun if you didn't really like me? They're going to take all of your nonverbal cues as being something way more than it really is, okay? So that's something to keep in mind if you want casual love. But if you want passionate love, let me tell you guys, this Venus and Pluto opposition will bring it, okay? I myself, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm like, ooh, bring it on. I wouldn't mind a little more of that in my life. So, but yeah, a little bit of more cleanliness in love. Attracting people who are stalkerish and creeperish too. People who are creeping on your social media and like, oh yeah, I saw this and that on your Snapchat or your Instagram or whatever, like noticing every little thing about you. Which for some people, they're very private and they don't really like that very much. So yeah. But yeah, that's Venus in opposition to Pluto. It's an intensification of Venus energy. It can cause us to be a little more obsessive. Try to keep it under control to where it's not in a negative way. But yeah, Venus and Cancer opposite Pluto. Yes, that's what I was talking about. So it does bring out, Brown Brujita is saying that her Venus is in Scorpio. Her natal Venus is in Scorpio. So if you have natal Venus in Scorpio, this is a transit that kind of brings out more of your nature of Venus in Scorpio. It intensifies that a little bit. Or if you have Venus in opposition to Pluto in your own chart, maybe not in Cancer and Capricorn, obviously, because you'd be a baby, but if it's like, you know, Venus in Aries in opposition to Pluto in Libra, or Venus in Taurus in opposition to Pluto in Taurus in your own chart, this transit's going to activate that because it's like a repeat of your own personal natal chart aspects. So yeah, be careful of the crazies. Be careful of the crazies. So that's it for the aspects for the astrology for the week that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to get into coffee talk right now. Just bear with me because I need to. Oh, I have my charger right here. Never mind. I thought I was going to have to go chase it down. Woo, luckily she is prepared, right? Because my battery is about to die on this laptop. Don't need any more Mercury retro stuff to happen, right, guys? So now let's get into coffee talk. So as I mentioned earlier, someone had emailed me and they requested that I talk about the Bachelorette and the guy that she chose and that now she's engaged to and all of that stuff, and see what their synastry is like. You know, I've never watched the show. As I told you guys in the beginning, I've never really watched the show, but I did some extensive research because the viewer asked me to check into that and to check into this and just to get a feel for their personalities and stuff. And is this the real thing, or is this show fake, or I don't know. To me, it's probably fake, but once again, I've never really watched it. But I watched a clip of the Bachelorette, who is, what's her name? Lindsay, geez. Her name is Rachel Lindsay. I watched clips of her, and she had like two main choices. She had two main choices of guys to pick to actually be her bachelor that she gets married to. First of all, I don't really like to give personal opinions during coffee talk. I try to just remain a news reporter as much as possible. But my personal opinion of this is like, I'm like, wow, I'm just amazed. I'll just say this. I'm amazed at how people can want to marry somebody that they met on a TV show. Like their aim is to get married, like meet somebody and get, to me, love is not arranged like that. I don't know. To me, it's a little, there's something off about it, but to each their own. What can I say? Maybe they have Venuses in certain signs that are cool with that type of thing, you know, and mine is in Taurus. So mine is like, Love should happen naturally, not be arranged to find it on a show. You know, how real is that going to be? But you never know. You never know. So let's look into them. Let's look into them. So this is Rachel Lindsay. She had two choices. It was between a guy named Brian, and a guy named Peter. Okay. So Peter is somebody that, this is what I find a little odd. She was all about this Peter guy, right? They even like broke apart and exchanged I love yous. I love you too. They were crying really bad. Like that crying looked real though, you guys. To me, it looked real. They were crying a lot over each other, over separating and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't know about this. But her deal with this Peter guy, she didn't choose him because she said he's too wishy-washy, back and forth. He's not ready to commit. You know what? You know me and my Miss Cleo Spidey senses. I was like, I pick up on some serious Gemini and or Sagittarius from this dude, okay? Because, hold on. He says, you don't choose me, that means you're going to go off and live a mediocre life with someone because I can give you the best life possible. However, I don't know if I want to get married. How the, like, really, dude? Really? But see, Rachel, I'm going to show you guys their charts to see how all of this makes sense, okay? And to see if the love between her and the Brian guy that she chose in the end is actually real. Is it real or is it not? We'll see. So Rachel is a Taurus. Okay, she's a Taurus sun and moon and Mars. So she's like, I'm sorry, but if you don't know what you want, I can't deal with you. And actually, when she separated from the Peter guy, she cut him off. She cut him off. He tried to contact her after that. She's like, no, I'm sorry. I don't want to waste my time. If you don't know what you want, I'm not going to waste time with you. It's just done. It's over with. That's true Taurus stuff right there. But not only is she a Taurus, let me show you guys her chart. Let me just show you guys the chart. And let's get into this real quick, okay? Let's get into this coffee talk here. To some people, they say the tea. Oh my gosh. Let's get into this tea, honey. Hold on. Let me pull up their charts really quick here. Okay. Who is this? That's Brian. This is Rachel. Okay, let's look at Miss Rachel really quick from The Bachelorette. For those who are just tuning in, that's who I'm talking about. If you're not interested in celebrities or any of that stuff, you can tune out. We don't need your negative comments up in here, because some people actually enjoy this stuff. Okay, so here we go. I'm screen sharing. Cool. Here's Rachel's chart. Rachel, I don't have anybody's first time, guys, so I set them all for 6 a.m., which is a sunrise chart based on the sun, okay? So here's Rachel's chart. Look at this. She's a Taurus sun, 1 degree, just fresh into Taurus. 1, the energy of 1 is very Aries-like too, is very me first, I'm first on the scene. It's fiery energy, even though it's Taurus. She's a Taurus moon as well, Taurus Mars, okay? But her sun is in opposition to Pluto in Scorpio. Very close opposition, 1 degree and 3 degrees. So that's why when she said, it's over and I'm cutting it off, that's exactly what she meant. And that's also why she's like, look, if you don't know what you want, buddy, I'm not going to waste my time. Not only because of her Taurus energy. Look, she has Mars in Taurus. Mars for a woman is only one of several indicators of what kind of man they're attracted to. She likes a steady, stable guy who knows what the F he wants, okay? Her Mars is in an opposition to Saturn, direct opposition to Saturn. Although oppositions are very tough, they could be a challenging energy, her Mars still speaks to Saturn. Saturn's energy is very grounded. It's very like, no playing games. Everything has to be slow and steady and by the book and so on and so forth. So she doesn't want to play around when it comes to going after what she wants and who she wants. Not only that, but she said, when I watched her too, immediately I picked up on Aries energy from her, because she said she is very hyper and she's a bit much to deal with, and she likes sports and all that. So right away I heard Aries, okay? And so, yeah, she has Mercury and Venus in the sign of Aries. So she is, and then her choice pick, Brian, described her as a firecracker. Or she described herself like that, whatever. But that's because of this Aries energy. That's why she's into sports. That's why she's also like, Aries energy is very like, don't waste my time. Do not waste my time. Aries, it's like, what I want is what I want, and I'm going to go after it, okay? So that's what she has, this Aries energy here. And Taurus, she's very headstrong, very stubborn. She's got an opposition to Pluto, to Saturn. Look, don't play with this lady, okay, with whatever she wants. Now, let's look at Peter's chart, okay? So Peter is a Sagittarius sun, okay? And so he's got Saturn, Sun, Mercury, Uranus all in Sagittarius. I really wish I knew what his rising sign was, but whatever. So here's the wishy-washy indecisive stuff, okay? First of all, Sagittarius energy. This is why he's like, listen, he has Venus in Scorpio. That's intense. That's wanting intense, deep love. So his Venus in Scorpio, and Scorpio is an opposite sign to Taurus, to where she has a stellium of planets. So he was attracted to her Taurus energy. Not only that, he has North Node in Taurus. Whatever sign your North Node is in, you can attract those people to you, or you may admire those kind of people. Usually, okay, it all depends. There could be aspects, all that stuff that are a depending factor, but generally speaking, you can attract those people or be attracted to them. Anyhow, so Venus in Scorpio wants that deep love, wants a deep soul bond with somebody, but then he turns around and says, I don't know if I can get married. Why? He's got this Peter Pan energy here of Sagittarius, Sun, Mercury, Uranus. Saturn energy here kind of grounds him a little bit to where he does want something stable, but look at, he's still got all this Sag stuff going on. And not only that, talk about wishy-washy back and forth. They would say that all the time about him. He's got a Gemini moon. Gemini moons are wishy-washy back and forth. They want one thing 1 minute, they want another thing the next. And she said on the show all the time, I need somebody who knows what they want. And she's like, what about tomorrow? What about the future? And he's like, I don't even know what I want the next day. Gemini moon, classic Gemini moon. Not only that, he's got Mars in Libra. Mars in Libra, super indecisive. He's a male. Mars represents how males exert their masculine energy, and his is very Libran, which is, I don't know, back and forth, wishy-washy, but yet I'm charming, okay? Now let's take a look at the guy that she did pick, that supposedly she's really, really in love with, okay? Brian, and both Brian and Peter, in my opinion, they're cute guys, good-looking guys. You know, if this doesn't work out, I'm pretty sure they'd have no problem finding somebody else. So anyhow, look at this. Brian, he's also a new moon baby, sun and moon in the same sign. And they said, oh, we have so much in common, right? So they have sun and moon in the same sign. Guess what else bonds them together? Venus at the 6th degree of Aries. This is, what's his name again? Brian. This is Brian's chart, 6 degrees of Aries. Here's Rachel, 6 degrees of Aries. Her Mercury is there too. She said she feels like they are like best friends. So her Mercury conjunct his Venus, her Venus conjunct his Venus. This is why they find that they have so much in common. They get along pretty well. The only thing that concerns me is, well, first of all, he's an Aquarius, sun and moon, and that squares Taurus, okay? So it sends a frustrating aspect to the sign of Taurus. Squares can bring challenges that can help you guys grow as people if you are willing to compromise, okay? So it's not all gloom and doom, oh, you should totally avoid it. It just presents more of a challenge that you have to be accepting of, okay? Also, he has Eros in the sign of Aries, so what he is really physically attracted to God. Okay. I think I wasn't on for a minute. Okay. Can you guys see and hear me now? I don't know when like it cut off, but anyway. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I see for their relationship, guys. I see that there could be some challenges there. Did you guys see everything? Okay. Wow. Interference. Okay. Anyhow, I don't know how much of you guys heard, but my closing out was that the natal nodes, when there are transits to the nodes, that can signify a chance meeting with someone that is supposed to happen. Okay. Um, I was at where Brian has Eros and Aries. Are you kidding me? You guys missed a whole bunch of good stuff. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. You know what? Let me go back to that then. Stop when I was talking about their Venus. Yo, I said so much more that was like important information. Okay, okay. So let me go back. Let me go back. Okay, because I really want to spill the tea, as somebody said, for me to do. So let's go back, and I'll keep my Hangout screen open to make sure that I can catch if it closes out again. So let me go back and share my screen and give you guys the rest of the juicy details that I saw. Okay. All right, so here we go. Who is this? This is Brian. Okay, so Brian and what's her name? Rachel, they have Venus in Aries. She has Mercury in Aries, so they feel like they're best friends. They have common interests because their Venus is at the exact same degree, you guys, which is awesome. That's awesome chemistry for people. Mercury rules friendships, so her Mercury on his Venus is definitely a good friendship aspect, okay? Now, he is attracted to women because he has Eros and Venus in Aries who have an athletic build, or they're like slim and trim in some kind of way, okay? He may prefer that with these two planets there. And she fits that description from what I've seen, all right? Now, what else was I saying about them? I hate repeating myself, but I'll do it for you guys because I love you for being here. Okay, so also, he's a sun and moon in Aquarius. She's a sun and moon in the sign of Taurus. So this could be a little bit of a challenge for them because Taurus and Aquarius square each other on the zodiac wheel. And squares present challenges. They present challenges, but they can promote growth if both parties are willing and accepting of learning from one another, growing from one another, and accepting their differences and saying, you know what, you're different, but it's cool. I appreciate your differences and I'm going to learn from them with you. And also their styles of communication can be a little different because he has Mercury in the sign of Pisces. And this is another thing that worries me just a little bit is he has Neptune. Neptune is transiting over his Mercury. So is this guy, first of all, when I see Neptune transiting over someone's Mercury, I have seen this from several people close firsthand. When this has happened, they've kind of have lost their mind a little bit. Mercury's the mind, Neptune is getting lost. They've kind of lost their way and lost their mind. They're not always being truthful. They're not always being honest. They can get caught up in a fantasy world. So who's to say that in the future, when Neptune starts transiting away from his Mercury, if he's going to start seeing her for who she really is, and maybe these squares between their sun and moon, because they're in different signs, can start, you know, rearing their ugly heads. And he's like, wait a second, I thought you were the most glamorous, beautiful. I was so in love. And what happened? Let me tell you guys something. Neptune transits over your personal planets can be a very blissful time, okay? You're in a state of bliss all the time, but you're not always seeing the truth. And you're not always expressing the truth yourself, okay? So this is something that kind of worries me a little bit about, is this real or is this not? What else did I go over? Okay, so also for Rachel, she has the asteroid Lust in the, and it's debatable of whether this is lust or lust. Okay, this could be, it can mean something else. But I've seen, and I've put this into effect in astrology as far as meaning lust, and it has matched up so far from what I've studied. So lust, okay, in the sign of Virgo at 12 degrees. Look at Brian has Mars close to that, 9 degrees in Virgo. So Mars conjunct someone's lust. Hello, hello. That's all I gotta say. All right. Also, what's her name? Rachel. She has Juno, the asteroid that rules ideal marriage partners, people that you can be in a committed relationship with, in the sign of Virgo. So that means a man should have some Virgo-like qualities for her to really want to be committed to them. And guess what? Brian's got a stellium in Virgo. Okay, he's got Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, all in Virgo. So he has some Virgo qualities. Okay, so that can work out between them, definitely. Now another thing is, what was I gonna say? Oh, Rachel, she has Jupiter in Aquarius. And in some methods of astrology, relationship astrology, Jupiter can represent a husband for a woman. Jupiter 14 degrees Aquarius for Rachel. Look at, he's an Aquarius sun and moon. So he's got those Aquarian qualities. So, okay, this actually, it could possibly work. All right. So let's see here. What else? Oh, this was the other thing of the question of, is this real or is this not? Okay, so now the nodes, the transiting nodes. I always find that when the transiting nodes are in a conjunction with someone's natal nodes, someone could be eclipsed in or eclipsed out of their lives, okay? So in May is when they said this show wrapped up. In May, I don't have the exact dates or anything, but they said in May. And May of this year is when the nodes went back into Aquarius and Leo, where his natal nodes are. So a conjunction between the transiting nodes and his natal nodes, that's someone being brought into his life. That is significant. It doesn't necessarily have to mean soulmate and forever. It serves a purpose. This person being brought to their life at that time, it is karmic and it serves a purpose. Okay. Also for Rachel, she has a north node in Taurus. And in the month of May, planets transit through the sign of Taurus. So there could have been some planets hitting her north node in Taurus. So that's like a karmic destiny thing. So is this real or is this not? Of course, we're not them. We're not in their worlds. We wouldn't know. But this is something that was supposed to happen in their lives no matter what. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, so we'll just have to see how it goes. So that was my take on that, on the Bachelorette. I do think that the first choice, what's his name? Peter. I don't think he was good for her. I think because of the opposition between Peter's Venus and her Taurus planets, there was like an attraction there. But at the same time, that wishy-washy, like Taurus, very solid Taurus energy, paired with somebody who has like Libra energy and Sagittarius and Gemini, all that back and forth. I don't know what I want. I do, I don't, I do, I don't, but I'm charming. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. So I don't think she made a wrong decision. I think she made a decent decision with the Brian guy, a better decision. How about that? A better decision with Brian. But we'll see if it lasts. We'll see if this is something that's true, okay, that's real or not. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for this week's Coffee Talk. I appreciate it. I will be here again next week to go through the transits for the 18th through the 25th of August. And if you want to email me, leave me a suggestion in the comments once this video processes for something else to discuss next week or in further, like in later shows. And don't forget, I also give readings, personal readings, so I can look at all the stuff between you and another person, or look at career or anything, even just a general natal chart reading. I recommend 30 minutes for that because I go in detail, okay? But if you would like a reading by me, whether Skype or recorded, my readers page will be left down below the video and also in the corner of the video, the little I button. So hit me up there. I would love to chat with you guys. And I will see you guys next week. Happy eclipse season. We're still floating in the middle. It's still intense, but just pray for great changes to happen to all of us. All right. So take care, guys. See you next week. Love ya.